What's up, and welcome to the American Gods show, where we're going to react and talk about episode 8, the Rapture of Burning, which just sounds interesting, and we'll get into that. My name is Kari Lane. I'm joined by my awesome co-host. Got Flobo in the house.
What up? I hope I'm doing it right this time. I always get this wrong every week, but thanks for having me and inviting me for another week of American Gods action.
Yes. So Rapture, for anybody watching, listening. So Rapture, I was like, let me look this up, because I was like, I went with the first definition came to my mind was the rapture, essentially the second coming of Christ and people disappearing off the planet. But Rapture of Burning. So Rapture is a feeling of intense pleasure or joy, which there was a lot of pleasure and joy in this episode.
Oh, yeah. And I guess if you're a tear, there's burning too.
That too, exactly. Flobo, what did you think of this episode, episode 8? We only have 2 more to go after this.
I know, we're in the home stretch. Now, I liked it, the majority of it. I liked it, a lot of cool character moments, but there is one part I absolutely did not like. And I try to beat the positives of this show because I like it so much, but one storyline we'll get to today, I just could not do it anymore. I was pulling the last hair out of my head. The last one. So frustrating. And so I would say overall net positive, but not without its flaws.
Okay. I thought it was an interesting episode, and I had the moment where I'm all, in previous seasons, they've had nudity and sex and stuff, and we haven't had that much this season, all things considered. We did have shadow sex scene, but this was like, oh, hey, you guys have been missing out on the nudity. We got you. So that, which I thought was really fun, and just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because, we hadn't had much intimacy that way this season. So the beginning, we have 1951, the Grand Peacock Inn. And I loved introducing another god, because I always think it's fun to bring in other gods, learn about them. So Tu Ersin and the Rabbit God, and meets Tony. What did you think of this as our intro? Because normally it's been like back in the day, like hundreds of years ago. So the idea is only like in the 50s, not that long ago.
One, it was interesting that there wasn't a cold open. It started with the opening sequence. But I like this. I feel like every time American Gods goes back to what postmodern Americans think was the ideal time, like the mid-20th century, it's always a treat. Love the fact that it had the roadside bar, and it has almost a fable-like quality of like God was in trouble and other gods saved them and got blessed with prosperity. I thought it was really cool, hit the nail on the head, and I did like Tony's what's the word, like characterization, that's the word. Character action, because you got the feeling of that she has dealt with things in the past and was holding steadfast with this particular night, and despite her own secrets with the cop, I thought it was a cool scene exchange.
Yeah, I loved her power in the scene to understand the situation quickly, have someone get to safety, and be able to get rid of the cops very quickly as well, and calling out Jimmy O'Rourke of like, yeah, you remember seeing your prom? I know your secrets, so you probably don't want me to share them, so bye. So I thought that was really interesting. And then also, in saving to this rabbit god being blessed, this hotel being blessed, and like, oh, I don't believe you, maybe you've hit your head, and then seeing it was really cool too, of the, oh yeah, you're just talking, and but in a respectful way, not going, you're crazy, something's wrong with you, but like, sure.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. But I will say that if I was ever outside and I saw someone extract butterflies with their mouths, I'd be like, oh my goodness, am I okay?
Yeah, do we really need to get you to a hospital?
Right, is it me? Yeah. A lot of fun.
Well, the other thing too, and I had seen it, and I'm afraid I can't recall the specific tweet I saw, but somebody commented on how it was very powerful to see an LGBT character be essentially blessed with immortality, because as a group, they experience so much violence. And so to have someone essentially surpass that and create a safe space haven, it was appreciated. I agree. I think it's a very beautiful thing that the show is able to give this character, who otherwise probably could die at the hand of violence for just being who they are, is now granted immortality and given blessings, and probably is, living the best life that they could have ever imagined.
Yeah, I appreciate the insight there. I mean, full disclosure, I am, a heterosexual cisgender male, and so I always interpret that particular scene of maybe the cross, also a person of color as well. There was always that undertone of being ostracized for being yourself, and as a small business owner too, you kind of have the whole thing where everyone's out to get you. He was like, it was on death's door as far as the business concerned. Being granted that was great, but yeah, I didn't quite I didn't quite realize the importance of that, of having a member of the LGBT community being blessed with prosperity. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it was beautiful to see this safe space where all of these other people could essentially, it's a temple to make their pilgrimage. I did think it was maybe a little bit weird that the god didn't stay there, that he moved on. But maybe it's not necessarily it needs to be a temple to him, but more just a temple. My dog is playing with a squeaky toy. It's a temple of a safe space for people who are, not part of a society that welcomes them. So because the story that he had of like the man who loved a guard in China and is murdered, but then a temple is built for them. So it's just like, this is really sad and romantic and sweet, and just like I'm glad it ended well in this way.
Yeah, so, I totally thought that Rabbit God would have these spring-like temple network of the romance and fertility and love between all. So, I mean, I totally didn't mind the fact that they move on. But if they had some sort of symbol to that, then I would totally accept that as well.
Well, I'm also curious because it didn't come back to it, but I thought Shadow saw a peacock earlier in the woods. And then I'm like, oh, Peacock Inn, like, is this connected or is it coincidence? Because it does feel a little bit like,
yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, it's very specific, right? Why wouldn't it have some sort of connection? And well, this one thing the show does is pull out tendrils and say, look, this is connected to that. So
then we get the other two people that come to this space that probably needed to get there. We have Salim and Laura, and they're going there to meet Liam Doyle, who's a bartender. What did you think when you found out he was hired to kill her first, but turned it down?
First of all, Liam is a mood and vibe. I want that fashion as loud and garish as it is. And you know what I think is interesting, because I've made no attempt to hide my disdain for the Laura Moon character. She could be so unlikable at times, even when people are trying to help her and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a little bit of in such a short space of time, Liam made himself endearing. Look, I work in a bar without my lucky coin, and any kind of chance or reward I would have gotten for doing it, I said no, because I was a lawyer.
Yes. I liked him going, sorry, my dog is like, hey, give me attention. Just like Laura needs attention. Yeah. I thought it was interesting to meet this other character. Also, it's the actor who was a very brutal character on Game of Thrones. So if you haven't seen that, his character. So it was actually really nice to see him in a likable position, because in I want to say it's the Immortals, that Marvel show, he's also not really a great character there. So it was like, who is this person? Wait to see this actor, because it's one of those, I get stuck playing someone evil, so it's nice to see him be a good guy. But yes, I liked Lucky. I felt so glad for Salim to be in this space, to really explore who he is. And then Kai, I agree, the hot bellhop, and so friendly and nice. And it was just great for Salim to have this environment to be welcoming and not pushy. Wasn't like, hey, why aren't you like this or whatever. And I agree, Laura can definitely be Laura. It's like, yeah, but and then my dog is playing with a unicorn. I enjoyed that she, in this episode, expressed, concern and friendship with Salim, even though she couldn't really say it. But I like that she got a little bit of growth. Yeah.
Sure. So a little bit of a kindred spirit there between Salim and Laura, and I felt like Salim's growth could be distilled in that sex scene with Kai. And we're jumping ahead, but like he was a little bit putting those nuggets in all episode, sitting down with Laura and said, what options do you have in trust in Liam? I think both of them move on. He lost his sweater or whatever. I am so glad they took the time, and I'm not sure if it's 2 scenes or 3 to establish Kai, because at first I thought he was a predator. I thought he was somebody not in a sexual way, but but like a device to like, distract Salim with, keys of emotional compromise. So I was kind of glad it was able to actually have a natural bond and actually have a bit of growth for both men. So that was kind of interesting.
He like,
he was quick. He was like,
scoped him out, like, I see you, I'm going to talk to him. And like, I mean, he is intentional. He's an intentional person. But yeah, I could see that would go that way of like, who are you and why are you talking to me and why are you being so friendly? And these characters have gone through enough that it warrants them to be suspicious.
Right, yeah. Maybe just a moment of weakness.
Yes. And Laura and Salim, as you were kind of saying, I really like their conversation about grief and letting go. And that is the solidarity that they share of they both have lost something very important to them. And how do you let that go? And holding on to items that remind you of them. And I'm like, woo, that's true. And we as people just hold on to things that remind us, not even of people who died, as extreme as that always is. It could be like, someone gave you something and you hold on to it. So it's the object is like imbued with a memory and you can't let go. So of course it's of someone you love, it'd be even harder to let that go. Like, why is she carrying around the box of the ashes? Like, she's not taking it somewhere. She's not. Sweeney didn't say, by the way, can you spread my ashes here, or there? She's just holding on to it because that's like the last little piece of him that she could have.
Another part, much like her purgatory episode this season, just coming to grips with that. It was almost just walking in denial, like, oh, I'm just carrying ashes because, everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
and her eulogy was kind of like, she like, what, swore at it and tossed it over a bridge? It was like, dot. But I'm glad you got to realize that Sweeney is not just a dude in her life, or was a dude in her life.
Well, with her too, the ashes, also, if you ever spread ashes, make sure you check the wind. So I was worried about that when she was throwing ashes off a bridge. I'm like, I've been there. And you're just like, it's the wrong. It was funny, even though it's sad, because you're laughing and you're crying because you're spreading ashes of somebody that mattered. It was
you're covered in it.
Yeah. It was weird that it was just, she got the Ziploc bag and thinking the like literal practical applications. In my experience, it's not some like plain cardboard box. It's normally like a nicer box. So it was like, oh, and they gave her like, meh, here you go.
Yeah. They gave her the stock box, like the goes around.
What do we have here? Can we throw these in something for this girl? But yeah, in Ziploc bags. So yeah. Anyway, Salim, yes, we get the moment with Salim talking to Tony, and Tony, being gentle in the sense of, hey, let me know if I'm overstepping here, but are you experiencing shame? And shame is just a whole lot of made up bullshit, which I was like, yes, I like that. It's just society telling you something that what you do isn't good. So I appreciated a character telling Salim like, hey, where are your feelings on this? And just checking in.
Yeah, I appreciate the check-in, but I've been to a party, single and with someone, being like, oh, parties, yikes. Someone invited me, but I'm going to hang out there. I'm glad he found Kai as quick as he did, because knowing the way I was, I would have gone back to the hotel and watch cable. But no, it's a good moment between the both of them to really reaffirm who they are and where they're going in their lives. And I guess Tony didn't have to make a grand entrance. It was one of those things.
I thought it was a personal growth of Salim coming into his own of confidence too, and also showing respect to Tony of like, I'm a man, let me walk in this beautiful lady. And he still has that sense of chivalrous in a way, or my duty and responsibility as a man. So I like that it was used in a nice way. It wasn't patronizing or
I agree,
optimistic or anything. It was like very respectful.
I agree. I didn't think Tony needed to walk them in there, but when they did, it was definitely underscore what Salim was going through. So I'm glad it happened. I'm really glad that the exchange happened and to him get to reaffirm to himself who he was.
Yeah, and it's a safe space. And then also the other thing I love that this episode, that party scene, I was like, oh wow, this is eye candy of a little bit of everything. I like that
I couldn't see anything.
Were you just like, whoa? Well, that'd be
filters.
If someone walks in, you're like, It makes sense, I promise.
Yeah, exactly. Don't look at me. No, I mean, for a second there, I had to like put it on the bigger screen. I was like, it might just like my eyes were just like, but I get it. I get the fact that everyone's uncovering layers and then things got to be more clear over time.
Yep.
It was really well done. A lot of the sex scenes, or I guess all of them in this series so far, 3 seasons in, have been beautiful in their own certain way. This one was so different.
Also, the thing too that they have at the party with Kai and Salim, I like that the getting to walking around, explore everything. Nothing was forced on anybody. And then they get their own private space, because I don't think Salim is necessarily the exhibitionist that he needs an audience. He wants a personal connection. Like, he has no problem being in that environment. But, you know, when he wants to connect with someone in more ways than one, would rather be in their space. And they had a "may I kiss you" and consent. I was like, oh, consent is sexy, everybody. Like, asking to do that is not weird. It's not a bad thing. It is a good thing to say, hey, can I do this? And how it played out was really adorable. All right, good.
Yeah, I guess the moment was one of the first times I've seen that. Hey, how's it going?
Here we go. So this is who I was looking at. Anybody who was like, what is she doing?
Anyway. Hey, if it was a different relationship than the Jin, and I know one night does that mean everything in a relationship, but it definitely was a different presentation. And now through that scene, we see that Salim has come to his own. So that was pretty cool.
Yes, the moment too where he asks Kai, like, may I, and they swap spots of, like, you know, switch it up. I felt that was also him coming into his own confidence, and not necessarily be like a switch of dom submissive, but more of a, I want to take control of my life, and I want to take control with my partner. And so it was nice for him to come into that, because I think we're doing all kinds of dirty puns here, everybody. But it's the idea that, you know, he before, probably this was a new relationship. We don't know how many other relationships he was able to have before, and probably not many, if at all. So the Jin might have been like his first real connection with a relationship that's more aligned with what he wants. So with Kai, it was so nice for him to be able to explore that, and as a person live his life. Yeah, it was the live your life and don't hold back was the other big point of that, where I felt that was Salim, what he came away with on that when he was talking to Laura, that he's like, I'm going to live my life and my truth my way. I'm not hiding anymore. And I like that it circled back to him wanting to pray too, because in his mind, him living a life as a gay man didn't detract from his love of God and his relationship with his God. And I thought that was really beautiful, that it's like, no, because plenty of people in his society and others would tell him, like, no, you can't, you know, have both. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think that was definitely the beats we got. And I really feel like the change was not about the submissive song, like you were saying, or I should say submission dominant, but more love of the Jin was making a celebrity and their relationship. Yeah. It was kind of like got swept by him. And so to be able to at least control some aspect was one thing. And Sing and Pray was definitely poignant. And I'm glad they added it in there. I mean, the growth was already complete, but to see that was the extra icing on the cake.
Because he was so lost before, so it was nice to have him choose. And again, similar to his sexual relationships, choosing his faith relationships of how he's going to do that, he is making the choice now rather than being told this is what you do. Mm-hmm. Not that he was doing it, you know, on autopilot before. This is more the I choose to do this. And it was just a beautiful thing to see, and love people living in their truth. So I was like, yes.
Sure. Go so happy.
Yes. We have Tyr, Shadow, and the Wolf's Den. Is this what, or is it more of a technological boy that you're like, your issues? I was like, where was your pulling your hairs out?
This one. What just happened? What? I was so mad, Kari. You can't believe how mad I was.
Tell me.
I mean, I'm not sure about the reshoots. I'm not sure about the storyline, how that adapted. But for a couple of weeks, I was a little bit concerned of how Tyr kind of flippity flopped between his characterizations throughout this season. He kidnapped Shadow, and what the storyline was the C plot or even the B plot of this bottle episode. The kidnap Shadow, they meet in this area, and it's over. You mean to tell me that Tyr and Odin, these guys have been fighting for centuries, whether it was battle and land or Demeter decide to have a battle now? And they do have a battle, and Tyr stops and turns his back on his opponent and goes, well, you know, Shadow, according to battle code rule number 4, I was like, what am I watching? And he gets burned at the stake. I was so frustrated, Kari. Walk me through this. I don't know what to think.
No, it's fair. Yeah. So I like the Wolf's Den. It made me think of the House on the Rock. I like when Shadow asked, so like House on the Rock? He's all, yeah, kind of. So one, drug Shadow. And that really sucked for that random guy that's just trying to help. And that really was wrong place, wrong time. And that just sucks. I do hate those. Of like,
that just sucked.
Yeah, horror movies, same idea. If it's just wrong place, wrong time. Like, that just sucks. Because it's not you did something wrong or they say don't go here and you did. Like, those I can get more behind. But they're just like, oh.
Yeah, I saw a seizure. Yeah.
So he also gets that blizzard vision again and everything, but it's not really that. There's also more people there, so I was kind of wondering if there was more to it. I feel we haven't fully answered what that vision means. I thought it was possibly his father, but I felt it's still ambiguous at this point what that blizzard vision is. Mm-hmm. We might come to it later. Also, hopefully. We know Shadow deals with the snow, so...
We're running out of time. I hope we get to it later.
So, Tyr, him going, I'm the god of justice and divine retribution, and he feels that he wants to just end the war, and doesn't like that he's a lesser god now and not really known, and since Odin's going to do this dumb war, he wants to end it. It did feel like it made sense, but it was like, okay, and that's kind of what we were wondering before of, do any of the gods just really not care? Like, is the fight between new gods and old gods really just Odin stirring the pot? Like, if he stopped, would the new gods be like, all right, cool, whatever? Because there's enough room for all of you, essentially. So...
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with stretching out this as long as you want to. I understand. I have not read the books. I understand that was a main plot thread of the book. Maybe there's something would have been benefited having something else, because the longer you go out, the more scenes you have with Odin saying, we need this, the more scenes you have him recruiting people and one saying we don't need it. It does feel like it's an individual's endeavor to save themselves, and it's getting harder and harder to justify being on the side of the old gods. Yeah, I like Shadow. I want Cordelia to have a nice landing. But like, we're in season 3 now, episode 8, and this war doesn't seem any closer to happening than it did 8 hours ago, and so I'm a little concerned. But what I got today was kind of like this total like field trip that did nothing really to move the needle, in my opinion.
No, it is one of those. So what was Tyr's plan? If he just kills Odin, the war's over. I mean, I guess that was his plan. And yeah, that was kind of okay, we're gonna settle the fight the old way. And he talks about how he lost his hand to Fenrir, and he just has had this grudge against Odin the whole time. And I agree with Odin of, really? This is just you having a grudge, and then you don't like this war. And it did feel anticlimactic of like, is this going to be what the war is? Like, what? And yeah, all right, Odin's down. So Shadow, you broke rule number 4 or 5. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay.
The only thing that would have saved it is if Odin was critically injured. If Odin got critically injured and Shadow had that dilemma of, do I save my dad or something? Maybe, but
yeah, it was kind of like, okay. But it was weird, and then just over, and then but I like that it was over, and it was a funeral pyre and the runes that Odin was drawing, and then he just disappears, and Shadow's like, fuck that, like, what? Yeah. So, I mean, I guess maybe they're expressing how we feel about it, of Shadow going, what? Like, we're just done?
I got drugged for nothing?
Yeah. So, I guess we'll see where that goes. It was unsatisfying in the sense of, huh? like I need the follow-up episode to see where do we go next. But looks like Jacksonville, Florida. I like Shadow saw the little moving magic poster essentially of let me shift where I'm going. So I'm curious if a god called him there.
I had Carlitos Away vibes hardcore seeing the Florida poster being all animated. But yeah, I guess we're looking for Sonny, looking for Marguerite's son. Hopefully he knows where, because he was going to Jacksonville, which, poor guy, you don't want to go to Jacksonville. But
I was going to say,
yeah. Hopefully you're on the right track to getting Sonny back.
Yeah, we'll see what that leads to, because it is just, yeah, it feels very lost right now. We're, what? The pieces have been thrown out, and we're just curious how they're coming back together.
I almost felt like you could have just done without this. Like if you had Tyr disappear and Shadow see another vision from Florida by walking the street, that whole storyline could have been cut out, and I'd be fine.
I am curious too. Yeah, as you said, what was it before? Was this adjusted? Was this plot different? If Johan plotline had stayed what it was, how much was it changed? I'd want that on our like behind the scenes. Like let us out of curiosity. We can't change it now, but I'm just curious, like what shift happened and what would it have been? So we don't know. Leave your comments down below. Yes, and then the last kind of bit was a very interesting, like. Oh, and I saw some pictures on Twitter, and so I got super confused going, why is Bilquis dressed like that, have her hairstyle like that? It looked really cool, but it was, what is going on?
Yeah.
And it's just one of those spoilers. I don't want to know anything. But yes, the technical boy and gets the straitjacket and imprisoned. Are we surprised this happened to him? Not really.
No, if anything, I thought he would have been offed or like physically in a prison, but being in the prison in his own mind and trying to figure out why he's glitching. At least we know what's going on. Because to me, that was the question I had. I was like, I don't think Bilquis has like a virus, so what could it be?
Yeah.
But now we have an answer. What is the theory as to what's going on?
Yeah, the idea that she represents in his subconscious was really funny. She's like,
She's in my head.
This is your subconscious, and then that makes sense of why she looks like him. And mad props to Yetide Badake. Sorry if I said it wrong there. At the end, Yetide did such a great job of emulating his energy and persona that it felt like a totally different person from Bilquis. It just was so good and so annoying the way he's annoying.
Yeah, for sure. And the fashion, man.
His own medicine. Yeah.
And the hairdo was amazing to look at. So she knows what's up. Everything's intentional.
And the colors of the sweater were really cool. Hey, speaking of starting a fight.
We do it old school.
She's rawr. Oh, your face looks so funny there, baby. Then I liked that it kind of proved what I had theorized. That is, I awakened you. Pretty much, it's just all these things are happening when you're expressing emotions. So emotions aren't wrong. So it's not, don't feel them. It's just feel them and let them pass. So I'm curious on what that will mean for him once he figures that out. Because that's what we were kind of talking about in terms of he maybe had suppressed any kind of feelings before, empathy, whatever, because he was just an asshole so much. Right. And now it's, no, you can feel things, which I think in turn will make him a better God something, because then he can be aware.
There is a room there for him to upgrade in that way.
Yes,
and I guess you have to like discount the fact that he was hysterical in seasons 2 and 1. But whatever. You know what I mean? That's how it is. It's dropped apart. But yeah, why not? Why not have that roll into something else and be almost like Bilquis, someone that could be on both sides of the board if need be?
Yeah, she's had her upgrade essentially too. I would say almost a reboot, and then him, upgrade and be more than what he was before, because clearly he had issues. So she just unlocked something that was there. Now, what the artifact is, I don't know. I feel that maybe it's the thing in the vault, but the way his subconscious was talking to him, I felt it was more something inside of him. So. Oh,
that would be the twist. Yeah, I'll take that. I thought it was a thing in the vault too, but yeah, I'm down for it to be inside.
Yeah, search within. Technical boy, you can find.
Love it.
Was there anything else that stood out in this episode? We didn't get much of. We're gonna get more of those Wisconsin folks later, and the other relationship Shadow has. So we'll see. But anything else in this episode we didn't get to?
Just the one, just to go back to the Laura Salim storyline, when Salim tells Laura to essentially move on, and she's like, "Oh, like you, huh?" And he goes, "Gonna quote, yes, like that." Broke my heart. Poor Salim.
But he does move on, and I think you still could have held on to the sweater. Just saying. Well, his is.
I mean,
I guess it's hard because an ex versus a family member, because then I wouldn't say like get rid of. I mean, like, I've had people and pets die, and I still have stuff that I've kept, but I wouldn't want to get rid of it. But I guess for him, it was, it's a relationship, and if he's stuck on that, he'll never have another relationship.
Right.
So I think that's more where he needs to let go. Is if he doesn't, he's just gonna be sad, and it's not that he has to be with someone, but the way he is now, he can't be with someone. So he needed to. Get rid of the sweater, get rid of the thing that was binding him and holding him back, and explore the many things and beauty the world has to offer.
True. And if anyone told me all my outfits look like lesbian Harry Potter, I'll dump it too. Like, that movie's been around. Like, yeah, I'm out. Sorry.
I like that he laughed at it, though, too. He's kind of like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's so comfy, though.
Yeah, right? What's wrong with the comfy sweater? It was a old sweater, so that's your comfy lounge sweater at home. That's True. What it is. Keep it that way. You don't need to wear it out, but when you're just chilling at home or something, sure, when it's cold out, yeah.
I got one this winter. It changed my life. I was like, oh my gosh, what
comfy loungewear, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Difference. Well, thank you for everybody for watching, listening. If you had any comments related to the stuff we talked about, please comment down below. And thank you to everybody who's been watching, commenting on previous episodes. Really appreciate it. And let's get over to boom. All right. And now where can people find you, Flobo? And anything you're working on in the streets.
You can follow me at Twitter at Flobo Boyce, or on Instagram at Flopito, flopito.com. And of course, you want to see me at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Flobo Boyce.
And on TikTok, as he tries to do dancing and rapping, and
try
pretty well. Yeah.
Try. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Thank you. And you all can find me over here at Kari D. Lane on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and everything. And then thank you for being here on the YouTube space. That is my channel. This space. Yes. Give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. And also just started up doing Wynonna Earp podcast with an awesome group of people, and go check that out I have a link on my Twitter, but you can also search, it's on Amber Plasters, search Amber Plaster Wynonna Earp, you'll find it. But yeah, excited because those episodes are back, so yay!
What?
More into that. And yeah, similar adjacent shows. If you haven't watched Wynonna Earp and you're enjoying American Gods, I feel like that's adjacent enough vibes and humor and mythology. So yeah, go check that out. So yay!
Fantastic. What season's up
to? Everybody. This is the end at season 4. So you have a bit of content to watch, and just binge real fast and you'll catch up.
Nice.
Yes. Well, again, thank you everybody for watching, listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.